Welcome to the Garden State Outdoorsman podcast presented by Boondocks Hunting. I'm your host, Mike Nitre.
Hi, everyone. Co-host Joe Mallet here. And today with us, we have Zane Wicki from Living at Full Draw. Zane, why don't you go ahead and give us a little introduction about yourself?
Well, I'm Zane. So I grew up here in New Jersey hunting. I grew up in a family that hunted. As long as I can remember, I've been in the woods hunting or doing something. I used to play a lot of sports, but when it came to the fall, I never did any sports because I was out in the woods hunting. Almost all of my memories growing up were from hunting, fishing, or doing something outdoors related.
Real quick before, how old are you right now?
I'm 20. I'll be 21 in like a month.
Oh, well, hopefully, lockdown is over with so you can actually celebrate.
Yeah, I know. I'm really honestly praying that by the time this whole thing ends, I'll actually be able to go out and do something. But I don't know. The way things are looking in this state, I don't think they're gonna.
Not at all. I work in the medical field, and it doesn't look good. And now that they're opening everything up, I swear there's going to be another delay. They're going to have to shut it all back down because I know hundreds and hundreds of people are going down the shore for no damn reason. My sister lives there, and she says it's ridiculous.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's kind of a concerning thing. I mean, they got to do what they got to do, but it gets to the point where it's almost kind of annoying not to be able to go out and do stuff. But it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
It was.
What college you in right now?
So I was at Juniata College, and I'm actually transferring up to Clarkson University in Potsdam, New York. So that's like, I mean, do you know where Potsdam is or Clarkson?
I know where Clarkson is. Clarkson has the D1 hockey team, I believe.
Yeah, that's like their big thing is hockey.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about hockey. I think it's cool, but I've never really. I grew up like all baseball, so I'm gonna learn a lot while I'm up there about hockey, which will be neat. But I know you said you played it and stuff, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Grew up in that life. What's your major right now? Is it anything to do with the outdoors, or is it business, or what is it?
So I'm actually a business major, so I'm actually studying supply chain management and also finance. I'm probably going to end up majoring in finance.
Okay.
But I really like the whole supply chain management side of things, so I might kind of minor in something like that and major in finance. But I'm kind of just going with the flow now. I was originally going to do biology, but I just wasn't a big science person. I like business ends of things.
Okay. Yeah. No. The bio. It's a lot too. Biology is a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of schooling and the studying would probably take away from you being in the outdoors. I would imagine because it's just so much, especially with your labs.
That's the thing about it is, I mean, I got almost every one of my friends in my friends group is a biology major except for me. So, like, I've got all this time, and they're like constantly studying. So it's kind of a weird thing to have all these friends that do that, but then you've got all this free time.
Yeah, definitely.
Again, you mentioned you already grew up in the outdoors. So, you mentioned that you also had some family ties to hunting. You mentioned your dad and family like that. What was it like growing up in a hunting family and kind of jumping right into it?
So, I mean, it was exciting growing up in a hunting family. I mean, what the biggest thing about it is that, you're constantly learning stuff. I mean, not just family members, but you're around friends who hunt. So you're being exposed to hunting a lot more. So I think, that's one of the nicer things to doing that. And, I can just remember, like, do you get a lot more memories? Because, I mean, I love to hunt. So I did a lot more stuff with family than I think a lot of people would do. So that kind of, kept me and my family really close with each other doing a lot of stuff.
What age did you get your first bow?
So actually bow hunting, I didn't get into bow hunting until I was about 13 years old. My dad bow hunted, but he wasn't a very serious bow hunter. He was more into like the gun. He was more of a bird hunter than anything.
Okay.
But I really wanted to bow hunt. So when I turned 13, I got my bow license and took my bow test. And then I remember I got my first doe that year. I think it was October 14th. I shot it that year. And I remember it was just an exciting. I just like fell in love with it. In all honesty, like I remember, gun hunting was fun, but you get it bow in your hands, and it's like a whole different game when you start doing that.
Oh yeah, agree. Like, my family's from Maine, so bow hunting really didn't start getting popular until last couple years, and it's still not even. Everyone usually just gun hunts.
Hmm.
But once I got that bow in my hand, it's a completely different thing, and the adrenaline rush, I believe, it's better. It's more
Yeah.
exhilarating bow hunting. I mean, you really want to get up close and personal with these animals.
Yeah, I think anything with bow hunting, the biggest thing I've learned with it is you just learn so much more being out bow hunting than you do gun hunting. Because, I mean, gun hunting, depending on what your state you're in, you're only out for like maybe a week or two every year. But, bow hunting, and especially in New Jersey, since we've got such a liberal bow season, you've got from September, that first week or second week in September, all the way to like mid-February in some zones. So you've got a long amount of time to bow hunt. And the one other thing, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of this, but you can shoot a lot of deer in this state. That's one thing that, so even if you tag out and you still have room in the freezer, you can get out and still keep trying to get your deer, which is good because it gets you more time in the woods. But I think they also need to start kind of trimming down on the amount of deer that you can shoot in this state, because at least where I live, I've noticed that the numbers are way down.
So with that I agree 100%. When I first started hunting at one of my spots, I mean, you would see deer everywhere. I mean, we would run into, like, if we would be hiking out, we'd be running into 30, 40 deer from our stand just to the parking lot. Now,
Hmm.
I'd be lucky if we get down from the stand and we see 3 or 4. Just the
Yeah,
number has just dropped off so much. And I personally do not believe in just going out and shooting every damn thing.
yeah,
You know, I think there has to be unlimited doe. That's ridiculous. Especially since we're starting all the way in second week of September, going all the way to mid-February. Why do we need to shoot that many deer?
yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it is, you do go to some spots and the numbers are, up there. But I think what they should do is, depending on and they do it in my zone, you can only shoot 9 does in a season, which really isn't a big difference. But I
Yes.
think depending on what zone, you go down to like some zones, like down by like Monmouth County down there, and I know like for a fact that like certain sections, depending on where you are, have a lot of deer living in them. And, that's probably where a lot of people like get the ideas for it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You're down in South Jersey.
No, I'm actually Northwest Jersey.
Okay, all right.
I'm over like Great Meadows.
Okay, yes, I know where that is.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm right in Great Meadows. So I mean, we have deer here, but I mean the numbers just aren't what they used to be. I can remember my dad telling me that he'd go out by the fields by us, and it would be normal for them to see like 40 deer out in the field in a night. Now they're lucky if they see like 9 or 10. So the numbers did drop a lot in the past like recent years, but I think they're at a healthier number than what they used to. I mean, you can't really have 40 deer out in the field at a night. That's a big issue, is when there's that many deer. But I think that they need to start maybe limiting the amount of deer that you can take.
Yeah, definitely agree. Do you think coyotes play a part in the deer number being so low in some
I
areas?
Or bear.
think a really big issue. Well, bear too, yeah. And the problem in this, I mean, my big issue with bears is just they do a lot of damage, not just to the deer, but to the turkeys. If you look at like, I remember we used to have a turkey that was, I think it was 2 springs ago. It was right by the house here. And one day a bear came through and the nest was gone. They do so much damage to the turkeys. That's my big issue with the bear. And they also get into the trash, the house, which is not fun. But we had a really big one in our neighborhood, and I was trying to get it during bear season. I had the tree stand set up right where it was running through every day, and it was getting into people's trash all like week out. And this caught it the day before I went out, so I wasn't able to get that bear. But the state did catch it, and what ended up happening was when they not euthanized it, they tranquilized it, but it died from that. So I was never able to get that bear, but. Back to like what we were talking about with like the predators and stuff, I think coyotes are a really big issue here. Like we have a really big problem where I live with them. We actually had them coming up to the house one night.
Really?
So we do anything we do, like in the season, to try to get those coyotes. But coyotes are really just, I mean, it's a concern. I mean, they need to open up the season year round, I think, in this state for coyotes.
Yes, 100%.
Because I mean, it's all political the way they do it here. I mean, the insurance company has such a big insight, like what gets hunted in this state and how it's done. I mean, I've heard, this is a rumor I've heard, but I've heard somewhere that like they've brought in coyotes to the state from like out of state just to stock it with coyotes.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's Jersey. Everything's political. Everything is, it's such a liberal state that they make these dumb decisions, and eventually they'll regret it. They really will.
Yeah.
Especially if this number keeps going up. I mean, we're running into some big coyotes where we hunt at, and it's the turkey number is it's down. The deer number it's down also. That's from hunting, and also we believe from just coyotes also.
Yeah. I think that's, not even coyotes, fox too. That's another issue. Fox don't do too much to the deer, but for the turkeys, it's a nightmare. I mean, I was at the other day, and I was calling, and I actually had shot a coyote the day before that, but then the next day I went out here in Jersey, and a fox came running out, and he was chasing the hens around. There was a hen that was nested, and he was chasing her across the field. But you can't shoot them here this time of the year, so that was the problem with that.
Which is yet again another ridiculous thing.
Yeah. I mean, Pennsylvania, where we were, that's where I shot that coyote, my cousin and I both shot it while we were calling a bird. They come into the turkey calls, and that's another really annoying thing, because I've had years where I'll have to send you guys the video where I've actually had birds working, and a coyote came in and just blew the hunt on us.
Oh man, that's got to be such a crappy feeling and frustrating feeling also.
Yeah, it is. I'm really gonna try it in the next few years. I'm not super big into it now. I have a call and stuff, but I really want to get into predator hunting. And it's a tough. New Jersey's a tough state to do it in just because of the laws. But I mean, if I can do anything, I mean, I read somewhere that like studies say that like you have to get rid of 75% of the pack or whatever it is if you really want to reduce the coyote population. But even if I can kill 2 or 3 coyotes and that keeps a baby deer or something that's going to grow up into being a buck from dying, I'm fine with that.
Agreed.
Yeah, it also protects those house cats and all the other people's pets that are out there that they're picking off.
Yeah, my grandmother actually had a cat get nabbed by a coyote a few years ago, so I'm definitely for that too, getting rid of them with that. But
yeah, no,
and that's the other thing. You'd think with like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, you go.
But I meant to say is like, you'd think in this state with all the people living here and their pets and stuff that they'd want coyotes gone, just because of that. But
I would think so too. I mean, we had this has got to be like 5 or 6 years ago now, but me and my buddy were out hiking, and we actually ran across puppies' paws that definitely had to get nabbed by a coyote.
Wait, like a dog puppy?
Yeah, dog, like someone's pet.
Geez. Yeah,
tore it all up, and
that's a shame that happened. I believe it with coyotes. Everyone thinks they're like this fluffy, beautiful, majestic dog that's running around, but they're really not good for anything, especially in this state. But
no, they're not. Any chance you get, I've completely blown deer hunts just trying to shoot at a coyote.
Yeah, I'm with it. I mean, when I'm in New York, our New York lease, we hunt up there. We have a really big issue with the coyotes there, and it's the same thing as Jersey. They have a season up there for coyotes. You can't, like, when we're up there turkey hunting, we can't shoot them. So I've had, hunts where I've been not this past turkey season, but the one before that, I was up there 2 times, and I've called in 7 different coyotes.
Oof,
wow!
But there's, and that's just, I'm not even trying to call them. That's just the turkey calls. And the turkeys don't vocalize because of that. The turkeys are really quiet up there because any calling brings in coyotes.
Wow, that's absolutely one. That's amazing, just because the turkeys, and I love how animals do adapt to, the situation at hand. You know, it's like the same thing that I heard that out in the out in the West. You get rattlers that they don't rattle anymore just because they're so used to getting hunted because they rattle. So it's the same thing with turkeys. They quiet down, which makes for boring hunting though.
Yeah. I mean, even I don't. Did you guys get out of this season much?
Oh,
Turkey was a kind of a mess for us.
Yeah, just because of this whole coronavirus thing. I'm still working, so I've spent most of my time in the hospital. One of our other co-owners, he actually had the virus, and the day turkey season started, his job made him go back to work, and then he was not able to get out. And I believe Joe, because of yet again he's home, but he still has meetings, he wasn't really able to get out. We got out on.
We went out once on Thursday, and our turkey hunt turned into a fishing trip.
Yeah. So
That's all right.
We had a couple. I was out with the girlfriend during segment A, and I had 4 people with dogs walk up on me. Weren't even supposed to be there. They have a whole area where they could have gone and walked their dog, but no, they wanted to walk right past my ground blind, and they even saw the ground blind and continued to walk, and then tried having a conversation with me.
Yeah, I mean, I've had that happen. That's why I've got private land, but I really like hunting state land. But I got to watch where I hunt, especially in the spring, because you get more hikers. Yep. And I've had situations like that where someone will walk up and they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I blew your hunt," and they're like yelling to you across the woods. You're like, just get out of here, please.
Yeah. You didn't blow it until you said you blew it.
Yeah. Looking back at it, it's funny, but at the time, it just gets really frustrating.
Yeah. All right. So, was your first harvest? Was that during the youth hunts, like with a gun or?
Yeah. So that was during the youth hunt. I would have been 10 then. So I remember that was 10 years ago this season. So yeah, my dad and we were sitting, and it was actually, I had a slug gun. It was a far shot. It was 109 yards. I remember that. But
what a shot.
A little 6-pointer, he came out. But when I shot that thing, I mean, I remember I couldn't stop shaking. The first shot, I missed the thing. And then the second shot, I nailed him. But I remember my feet, they wouldn't stop moving. It was just an exciting moment. And I really think that's my favorite part about, hunting, is when you get like that.
Yeah,
And as you get older and stuff, the more you do it, that kind of goes away. But I still get a little. You learn to control it, but you still get that, and it's just exciting.
So I agree. With me, I used to actually get that huge adrenaline rush where I would shake and everything with does. Now I don't. I am the most calm person when a doe strolls up. I still get that buck fever so bad, and brain just shuts off. And I've made a couple of mistakes the last couple of years, where if it was a doe, I would wait. I would wait until the perfect opportunity, and then I would let it go. With these bucks, I don't know why my brain just shuts off, and I pull I let the bow go a little too early, or pull the trigger a little too early, and they're not set up right where I need them to be, and I miss. Or it's a game of inches. 2 years ago, I hit a buck right in the shoulder, and I recovered that buck a month later, but an inch and a half down, it would have been a dead buck. Dead buck. So it's just the adrenaline and everything still for me. It gets me. It gets me.
Yeah. No, it happens. I mean, I'll still miss. I mean, I still once in a while I'll miss a deer just because. I mean, a lot of it is you just gotta and it happens over time. I think is just you learn to kind of slow everything down and just kind of think outside of what's going on. But I remember even this past season, I missed a buck just because it gets to you. You're with does, it's the same thing. It's you just do it with a doe, but when a buck comes out, it's almost it's so rare to have that happen that you get so worked up over it.
So, as you've kind of progressed through the years, I'm sure your gear and your setup has changed. What right now does your hunting gear look like? What does your season by season kind of look like? And then, how has that evolved over the years?
So I mean, when I started, I mean, I remember I still have it. I had a PSA Brute X, I want to say it was. I was like 2013. And that was like when I first started. I remember when I bought it, like I paid for a lesson at the shop and stuff, learned how to shoot, and then I took it and I got my bow license. But right now I shoot a Hoyt Nitrum Turbo. I'm probably gonna get a new Hoyt, either a new Hoyt this year. I'm looking at the Matthews. I really like the I forget the name of the model, but I shot it with my one buddies and I really like that bow, just how it felt. But so right now I'm with a Hoyt. In terms of like gear and stuff, I mean, used Realtree. I still use Realtree, but like I'll rotate between that and QU. QU is a good brand. I like it. I just wish
Yeah.
they had more of like a whitetail hunter type camo.
Yeah.
But in
Have you seen
terms
their
of like,
new camera that they just came out with?
I did. That stuff's awesome. I was just looking
Yeah.
at it before we made the call here, but
Yep.
it stinks because like I've got all the clothing, but now it's like, do I want to order that with that pattern now, or do I just want to keep this? But I mean, I think with deer, the biggest thing is just scent control. I mean, I know you guys use it. I use a lot of rat getter stuff, and I think that's the biggest thing is just keeping your scent under control. I think I mean, if you look back at like old pictures and stuff, guys were hunting deer with like plaid clothes on, orange. I think colors like blaze orange might mess with them a little bit, but I really think that the color of you, or like the color of like the camo you have on, it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely agreed.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely have all the KUIU gear, so I know what you're saying. It's definitely comfortable.
Yeah. Which stuff do you use?
I've got all the new Verde 2.0 pattern stuff.
Okay.
So I got their fleece line pants, the attack jacket and pant combo, and then I got their rain gear as well. And then their the cloud vest. So I use that as well.
That's why
Yeah,
I
they have.
Oh, you
No,
go.
you're good. I'm sorry.
I do have to get the rain gear because my rain gear, I just picked up whatever from, I think, Scent Blockers rain gear, and I was getting soaked. It would go right through the jacket after like 2 hours of being in the rain.
Yeah.
So I might have to take a look at, at that company and, maybe switch to that for my rain gear. But I use Realtree also, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, Realtree, in terms of like camo pattern, Realtree is the way to go in my opinion. I think they just have like, especially for where we are, it just blends in so well. And I mean, I wish KU had like a Realtree pattern, but they're very exclusive to their own camo patterns, which is fine. But I think, the biggest thing is just wearing like an earth tone pattern. So like any of your like OD greens, like browns, even like a light tint, like I'm trying to think of the color. Any of those colors, like even like a gray, you can get away with, I think. Just anything that kind of blends in with like trees that has that brown color to it, I think. I'd rather have more like Cryptek makes a really good color, I think. Just in terms of blending in. I've really like gone to that khaki brown color more than anything. I think works.
Yeah. I do enjoy wearing the khaki brown. It works well. You don't need anything, like you said back in the day. These people were hunting, and some of the most crazy, like people wear jeans to go hunting. So
they were the Elmer Fudd back then,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
definitely.
exactly.
You can get it done with anything, but I think the Realtree, like you said, for up north, it does definitely play I think a bigger factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I like I mean, for turkeys I try to use Realtree because I think turkeys are a little bit more sensitive to color than I mean the KUIU. I wear the KUIU turkey hunt and I've killed turkeys in it, but I mean when it comes to like later season, all my like lighter clothes are all Realtree, so I tend to stick with the Realtree for that. But for deer, I'm usually okay as long as it's not like a super bright like a pink color or something or like that.
Yeah.
But anything else, I think you can get away with it. But like for turkeys or ducks, you tend to want to have more of like a better camo pattern, I think.
What's your tree stand and stuff like that set up?
So my tree stands, I honestly, I just buy like whatever I can get on sale. I'm not too picky.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to get bigger. I'm 6'2", so I try to look for a bigger stand. I'm not really a big fan of like those little like who makes one? The ones that like you get at Tractor Supply or Walmart that are like a 16 by 18 deck that like you move a little bit and you're gone. But I mean, for my climber, I like to run a Lone Wolf. They're really good. I just bought one. They're pricey, but they're worth the money in my opinion. Um, Another good one is River's Edge. They make good ones. I like their the Bigfoot tree stand. That thing's really comfortable and it's got a big deck, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the Lightfoot, which is the aluminum version, and I love that thing.
Oh, how is that? I've heard about it, but I've never.
I like it. I mean, again, it's got that same big, wide base. It's got the lip at the front, so you kind of know when you're getting a little bit too close to the edge. It was light as can be to put up there as well. So
Yeah. I mean, my big thing with like my stands too is like, I mean, I'm gonna try using the you guys use it too, that Sportsman Shield, which is like the sticker you put on there.
Yeah.
But when I put stands on state, I try to use a climber on state land. But if I put a tree stand on state land, I try to just put like the cheapest one that I can find, just because I don't care if that gets stolen. I won't care what happens to it. But I mean, for like a ladder stand or something, if I have it on private land, I like Muddy makes really good ladder stands.
Yeah.
They're a little bit pricier, but they're good. They're really comfortable. Like you could sit in that thing and take a nap. But
with we hunt state land a lot. I'm throwing up a stand. I think mine's $45-$50. Nothing crazy. It's nothing like I'm not putting anything expensive up there at all. The climbing sticks also it's another $25-$30. So if someone steals it, like okay, they steal it, like it's cost me $70. I'll just honestly go buy another one. We are using that Sportsman Shield, so
yeah, exactly.
both our cameras and our tree stands, and we're running. Majority of us are running Spy Points, so it does come with the GPS already in it.
Yeah, I think even with like those Sportsman Shield, put it on that trail cam that has that GPS, just so people know. I think that helps because I've had a lot of stuff stolen on state land, and that's what's kind of kept me from keeping tree stands on there. But I really think that Sportsman Shield thing is going to help me a lot. I'm gonna try doing an experiment with it and just putting it on like a broken camera of mine and sticking it somewhere with a lot of traffic and just seeing what happens.
Yeah, I mean that sounds great. Sounds like a smart idea. You said 2013 you got your first PSC, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That seemed like a pretty successful season for you. I know I was going through Instagram and I saw you had harvested a couple of deer. I believe also I saw a coyote that you harvested also. Can you go through your first season and then also explain how each year matched up to your first year?
So I mean, my first year bow hunting, I mean, I went out a lot, but so I was hunting in gun hunting stands. I didn't even really have bow stands at that point. I was just kind of going in the spots that I knew that I had gun hunting. I remember the first day I went bow hunting, I saw a buck and a coyote, and because I was 13, I didn't realize this, but I could have shot that buck, but I thought that it was an earner buck still for me, so I didn't shoot that buck. That was the only deer I saw that day. And then I saw a coyote at like 60 yards. I mean, it was cool because I told myself I was going to climb up in that tree stand and I wasn't getting down until I either shot something or it was dark out. So I sat up in that tree stand for like, what is this? Probably like 12 hours or whatever it is, 10 hours. But from sun up to sundown. But I did it, and I saw one deer and a coyote that whole day, and I was just like shocked. I thought it was cool, but I was just shocked that it happened like that. But then after that, I ended up getting my doe. I shot her, so I'd start it, and then it was 2 weeks later. I remember that doe came out. She came out with like a herd of maybe like 5 or 6, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna shoot this doe. So she turns and she's broadside, and when I go to shoot her, she rotated herself and it went right through her front chest. And I don't know what happened there, but it hit her good, and she went about 20 yards and she just dropped. So it was kind of exciting, but what was funny was my parents were both out of town, and I was like 13 at the time, so I had to like, I had to like figure it out. So my one buddy who was like technically my legal hunting guardian was with me at the time, but like it was just a pain in the butt getting stuff out. I remember we had to like, because I mean we were on the farm, but like it was just tough just working that. I remember it was just a pain in the butt getting that deer out. And I remember like his one friend showed up who doesn't hunt, and they're like, "Ew, it's a deer," and it was just kind of funny. I remember seeing that. And then after that, after that it was New York, and I remember I was up there going. I actually got that deer with the gun in New York. It was like a little 4-pointer, and then I shot a coyote up there. And then I think that was that year. I remember on Youth Day I shot that. I had actually the buck that I had shot Youth Day. I had missed him with the bow, and he was a really big 7-pointer. I actually have him hanging right here, but I missed him. I remember I got up in the stand the week before that, and I remember I knew he was in like this little patch of woods behind our house, bedded down, but I couldn't figure out where he was. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna sit here and see what happens. And what ended up happening was that one of our dogs got out, and it ended up stirring up a bunch of shit on the property. And he actually ran by me, and I grunted him at about 35 yards. And I remember I sent an arrow, and it went just over him. And I was like, 13, so I was like, oh shoot, this is not. I was just like all worked up over it, and I'm like, oh god. So then I forgot my arrow and stuff, and then a week later, it was Youth Day, so I'm like, all right, I'll try it. But I ended up having to go to a funeral that day, so I didn't get out in the woods until like 3:30, and late November, you only have like an hour left after that.
Yeah.
So I just climbed up in one of our stands, and I remember I had rattling antlers, and someone had told me, oh yeah, try rattling. It's usually good in late November. I'm like, okay. I'm 13. I have no clue what's going on. So I rattled, and within 10 minutes, I had that buck running out in the field. And I had shot him two times in the lung, and I didn't find a drop of blood that night, so I just backed out. And I remember that whole night I was just like sitting up in bed, like, oh, shoot, did I miss this deer? What happened? And I'm like, I was almost positive I hit him just by the way he jumped, but he stood there, and both times when I found him in the morning, he had 2 holes in his lungs.
Oof.
And that buck had ran 100 yards, and he had let out very little blood. We actually ended up finding blood like where I had shot him, but it was just like a couple drops. And we ended up finding him in the one brush patch. But that was just that was like my first real like rack buck that I can remember. But then no, you're good.
It's crazy how like a double lung puck, you would think they're going down. They're not going far. 100 yards, an arrow through the lungs, that's still pretty damn far, and very little blood. That's even like, it just shows you how resilient these damn animals are, and how sometimes people shoot deer, and they could be dead, but they also never find them because they've run 100, 150, 200, 300 yards to another property, to deeper in the woods. And it just goes to show that you really gotta buckle down and head out the next morning and do your best to go find them.
Yeah, no, it's the thing about deer is they are just, I mean, they're smart. That's what I respect the most about them, is just how smart and instinctive they are. Just, I mean, around here they're kind of tamed up, like used to people, but like still, it's just neat to see like how instinctive they are, and like following things. And just like if you shoot one, like we have this spot in our property, we call it the point of no return, because it's just this massive brush patch, and like deer always run in there no matter where you shoot them on the property. That's where they're gonna go. And we'll find them in there, but like you'll find them curled up like underneath a log with like a bunch of like just like a bunch of like I'm trying to think of the grass, what it's called, but it's just like a bunch of weeds growing up under it, and it'll be tucked under that log. I'll have to send you guys a picture of the one buck this past season, how we found them. It was just impressive, like how they tucked themselves away.
Yeah, no, they get into these little patches, and even going through thick brush of like all these thorns that we personally have difficulty going through, and it takes us damn forever. And this thorn is cutting you and ripping at your clothes, and you have to get on your hands and knees and crawl through this little tiny hole of thorns. But these deer just go straight through them without any problems.
Yeah, or they bed down in that pheasant area, and it's like they're just gone.
Oh yeah, like the like that field grass you get. Yeah, that stuff
Yeah.
gets really like it's amazing. I mean, I've gone pheasant hunting, and I just remember jumping deer up in that stuff. You're like, holy crap, that thing was right there.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much, I know we do a lot of cooking. I don't know about yourself, but if you do, what's your top non-traditional cut to cook? So, not the backstrap or anything like that.
I mean, I like the tenderloins, but that's kind of like the popular one. I mean, ribs, what I like to do with the ribs, a lot of people I know, they won't save the ribs, and I don't get that. But like, what I'll do is I'll take the ribs and I'll marinate them. And what I'll do is I'll do it basically like a cow or a pig. I'll just cook it in like barbecue sauce, and that's really good. That's
Yeah.
one of my favorite ones. Another one is doing a neck roast in the crock pot. That's a really good one if you know what you're doing. Yeah, I mean, there's a long list of things. I like eating just about anything on the deer. So
Yeah.
if there's like a
Yeah.
recipe, I'll try it. What about you guys?
Awesome. Yeah, my favorite thing is actually the next day, I'll always make a heart hash. So chop up the heart, take some like shredded potatoes, crack an egg, fry it up, and just mix it all together.
I've only ever had the heart one time, but I'll have to remember that one. I always like having like the steak and eggs for breakfast, so I'll remember that one next time.
It's really
I'm
similar. I mean,
for that
you just
too.
flash it in the pan like 30 seconds aside, and little strips and call it good. Quick and
Yeah.
easy.
That's another trick I've learned is like have those little tiny pieces to do. That's whenever I go to the butcher, I'll have them like make these little like thin slices, and you can just do like a quick like stir fry with it, and you got it, and you're good.
Yep.
But another one, I mean, like turkey. I don't know if you guys do a lot with the turkey, but
Yeah. We want
a trick with turkey. I mean, you've probably eaten it. It's gamey. It's chewy. So what I actually found this one online this year. You take it and you marinate it in honey. I'm probably gonna mess up the recipe on this one. It's honey, soy sauce. You're gonna want to put meat tenderizer in it. Pepper, garlic, and you let that marinate for like 36 hours.
Oof.
And that was probably and you cut it into strips when you cook it, and that's probably some of the best turkey you'll ever have. Because normally it's not chewy. It's not chewy. That's the big thing about it is it's not chewy. I can't stand chewy meat.
Yep.
Yeah, no, neither can I. Honey is such an undervalued ingredient. I cooked backstraps I think around winter time with honey. And I didn't know how the hell I used honey and I can't remember what berries I used. It was some type of berry. And I was like, oh, like I really hope this is gonna turn out good. I cooked one half with honey and the berry and just like a regular whatever I do with my normal, backstrap just to make sure if I didn't like the honey and the berry one, I still had that. But the honey one turned out, I mean, excellent. And I got a sweet tooth. So, the sweetness to it for me just made it over the top. I loved it. So next year, I'll be definitely cooking with honey, I think a lot more. And we're gonna have to try the turkey with the honey and everything like that, and the soy sauce. I mean, nothing goes wrong with soy sauce, I think.
Yeah, soy sauce is kind of like a must one, especially when it comes to like venison or something. I really think it's just like because I love venison, but like it can be gamey, and you kind of want to like get rid of that flavor. So anything that you can add that'll kind of enhance it in any way is really, really helpful.
So can you explain how you got into the film and hunt course? What did you learn? And is filming something you want to do in the future?
So what got me in the film, I kind of just like saw it on TV. I'm like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. So I just kind of like started filming. I actually started doing some stuff on Instagram, posting some things. And that's where we kind of started living at Full Draw, kind of started with that. It's just like, videoing and posting some stuff on YouTube. We never got, too serious about it, but we kind of did a lot of stuff on and off. But I ended up like filming the first hunt I ever filmed was turkey hunting. I remember the tripod I ordered was the wrong size. It was like this little like tiny desk one that you'd use for like a video chat camera. So I took 3 arrows and I actually stuck them on the bottoms of it. And I used that to, prop it up a little bit more. And I ended up sitting that morning, we threw up a blind. And, this time I was I was 14 then. And we sat there and we worked birds, and we didn't end up shooting the birds, but I remember just filming like stuff for the first time was really, really neat. And I realized that it's like a whole different thing. Like when you're filming, like, you're gonna have so many handicaps on you. You're gonna, you got to worry about the camera. You got all this extra movement. You got to, be able to conceal stuff. You got to worry about, okay, this branch is here. We can't film here. It just it opens up a whole new world, and it honestly makes you a better hunter because you learn a lot more of what you can get away with and what you can't get away with. And I'm really honestly glad I started it then, because I really think it's made me just not just better at filming, but better at bow hunting. I just learned like ways that I can like get away with movement without really bothering the deer, and just ways that like how close I can get to them and stuff. But I ended up finding the class. My cousin Matt, who was, filming me and stuff, when I asked him to, if he wanted to come out, he'd come out and film me. He had met a guy, his name was Tom Petrie, at a course that used to be, at this course I don't think exists anymore. It was hosted by Campbell Cameras, and he had done the course through that with Tom. But Tom had started his own thing called Film the Hunt, and that's where I had found that I went to. He usually every year at Harrisburg, he'll do like a free seminar. I really recommend anyone who wants to do it go to that, and they'll have a booth there. And that course, when I went there, I signed up. I did the I want to say it's the 4-day field production course, and I did that one twice, and then I did the editing one. But I mean, you learn so much with that. I mean, I learned just about everything aside from like my trial and error stuff. I learned a lot with that. Like in 4 days, you absorb a lot of information through that, and I recommend it for anyone, even if you're like really good or just getting into it. It's just like something that you want to do. It's like worth every dollar that you spend to go into it. But and you meet really neat people at it too. You'll make great connections, like for hunting, filming, whatever you're doing. So, I kind of got into that, and that's, where I started talking to Tom, and, I'd film some stuff for him here and there. And that's where I got like that turkey hunt on film in Pennsylvania. I was doing some filming for Tom. And, any chance you can get to film with like someone like that guy, like you're going to learn a lot of stuff. And, that's what happened. I just, I started learning from him. I took what I learned from him in his classes, and I applied that to just like my filming, and it just made me a lot better at it. But to anyone learning or wanting to like get into that, I'd really recommend that course with Film the Hunt.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to take that course. I think Joe, I think you said you might, after you do your whole.
Yeah, I got like 12 courses I'm planning on taking right now, so I gotta catch up.
Because we're coming out with the YouTube, we want to start filming our hunts also, and all the fishing and everything like that. So, we've tried in the past, and it's just like it's such a other, like, oh my god, like you said, you have to worry about so much more now, not just your hunting. You have to worry about the angles, if something's in the way, your movement. I'm just focusing, I've been the last how many years just been focusing on myself and just hunting. Now you got to throw camera equipment in there and that movement and everything like that. So I'm very interested in taking that course. I'm actually, that's how I found it, is because of the video that dropped from that you were in. So do you, if you get the chance, would you work for a company?
Yeah, so I'm kind of looking to go down more of the business route with the whole hunting thing, but I love, like, don't get me wrong, I love filming. It's just I kind of, I'm shifting gears a little bit, but I'm going to continue. I really want to continue doing filming and just putting stuff up for people to watch. And if I can do it as a career, I definitely take that. And I mean, I will say to anyone who wants to do it, you're going to, work your butt off.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's, you don't get much sleep in it, which is kind of, I mean, anything you do, you're not going to get a lot of sleep, but you definitely work for it, and you got to really love it if you're going to do it. It's tough, but it's well worth, I think, the effort if you really want to do it.
Definitely. If you had to pick any company, who would you film for?
Oof, that's a tough one. Well, that depends. Like, are you talking about like hunting brands, or like just like TV shows, or?
How about, let's do both. How about one for hunting and then one for a TV show?
Okay. Well, for hunting brands, that's a tough one. I mean, the filming with like the brands and stuff, you're going to be doing like a lot of, commercials and stuff. I mean, one that kind of really stuck out to me, I mean, Realtree just seems like a really neat company to work for, I think.
Yeah.
I'm both like for like, even for like their shows, I think just they have like really good people that work there. I've met a lot of them and they're just really like just down to earth, and it's just like a good company, I think, to work with. Um, I mean, TV shows. I mean, there's a lot of TV shows I like out there, so that's a tough one to pick. But if I could do one right now, I mean, Jim Shockey's, he's a cool one.
Yeah.
I would just want to film with just to like see like the stuff they see and like just learn about like everything. Like it's neat to see that.
And he's someone that could teach you a lot. I mean, how long has he been doing this for?
A long time, as long as I can remember. I mean, he's probably like 60s now, so he's probably been doing it since like the 80s, I want to say. So that guy, he knows his stuff with filming and hunting and all that. And just like, I mean, just hunting history in general. He's very he opened up that museum. I don't know if you guys heard about that up in Canada.
No, I
remember
didn't.
here. I forget what it's called, but I think he opened up like a museum, and he's got like a lot of like hunting artifacts and just like it's hunting related stuff, but it's just a really neat museum from what I've heard.
Oh, we're gonna have to give it a look. I wouldn't mind going. I haven't been to Canada since my last hockey tournament. That was a long, long time ago. So I wouldn't mind going back to Canada. I think it's we need to get a trip going with the the board, everyone, and go maybe do some hunting and go see the museum.
Yeah, it'd be cool to get up there. And there's a lot of neat hunting opportunities in Canada. But I've got buddies who go to like Saskatchewan whitetail hunting, and it's like a whole different type of whitetail hunting up there. You'll read about it, and it's like, and just hear about it. It's like, you'll sit for a week and you might see only a handful. It's kind of like Maine. You'll kind of like see a handful of deer, but that deer you see is going to be a big deer.
Yeah. Oh, agreed. So in the video that dropped on the Sportsman Channel's Facebook page, in the opening, was that your sister or a family member that shot that turkey that you got to film for?
So there were the one turkey with the youth hunt. That was the one where like they shot the one. It was kind of brushy. That was the youth hunt with the Become One guys, or the Tom with like Film the Hunt. And then the other one, that was my sister. Yeah, the one in the field was my sister.
Was that her first turkey?
Yeah.
How excited was she? I mean, that's got to be a lot of emotions for her and you, because you can be there for her.
Yeah, we were excited. I remember when she shot it, she was like all shaky and stuff. It was a neat experience. I've gotten a couple people like their first birds and turkeys, and it's honestly, I just enjoy doing that more than shooting the birds and turkey. It's such an exciting experience to see someone's reaction for the first time when that happens.
Yeah, no. Is she going to be out for deer season coming up next year?
Yeah, she usually gets out. She'll usually get a buck every year. She's actually turned into a really good hunter. Nice. Yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, she hunts on her own now. She'll sit in a stand and stuff, which is kind of cool. So we're hoping she'll get one this year. She hasn't really gotten into the bow hunting yet, but we're trying to get her into it.
Well, good for her. The more females we can get into this obviously male dominated sport, the better off. I mean, I'm trying to get my sister into it, but she didn't grow up hunting, and the outdoor like I did, and the rest of my family.
I don't know, like you're trying to get your girlfriend into it too. My wife has a bow. I'm just trying to get her out and about and it as well.
It's something that, especially now, it's taking off. There's so much more opportunity for females, I think, out there now than there ever was.
Well, I mean, like if you look, I mean, I kind of remember it, but like 10, 15 years ago, they didn't really now you go to the store, they just have like a section of women's hunting clothes. Like it didn't a long time ago, it wasn't like that. It used to just be like hunting clothes. So now they're like kind of catering to both groups, which is a good thing. It's kind of showing that like everybody's kind of part of that now. Because I mean, hunting was more of like originally a predominantly male sport, like back in the day. But I mean, honestly, I think a lot of girls are better hunters than guys in certain situations. I mean, I know shooting, like my sister, she'll outshoot a lot of guys that I know.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, I'm working on, my girlfriend, she grew up definitely nowhere near close to the woods, and nowhere, within, a bow, or she hates mud and stuff like this. But slowly and surely we're getting her. Like she's loud. Like we're in the woods, and I'm like, you can't be loud. I know that's like your nature, just to talk loud. Just try whispering. Just bring it down a little bit. Every step that watch what I do. Watch what, because she came out with Joe and I hunting on Thursday, and that was the best she's done so far since we've been together. And but it's like, hey, you have the chance to be great at this. She's used to working with her hands and her wrists and her upper body. She's a hairstylist and a makeup artist and everything like that. I go, just once you learn how to focus when you're shooting your bow, I go, you're going to be killer. I mean, you might be better than me. You really might, because I sometimes think a little too much, and, you just be patient, give this a chance, and, this could open up, a lot of doors for you, you can be inspiration to other girls who, like you, didn't grow up in this. Your sister, she grew up in it.
Yeah.
You could be, this inspirational role. You can teach people, and that's something that, our company, we do want to do eventually, once we do get our own property, is to be able to get these new hunters, male and female, out and teach them about hunting, the outdoors, how to shoot, how to cook, how to clean it, everything before they go out on their own. I think that's the part of it. It's so hard to get into this industry and hunting and fishing, without someone there teaching you.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
I think the one thing I like about you guys is you kind of just like, you focus a lot on like just like new hunters, which is what I like.
Yeah.
A lot of, I think we see it a lot on social media. Like, you'll have people out there. I mean, you've probably seen them, but like, I'm not going to say names, but like, they're not really that great of a hunter, but they'll act like they've been hunting for 30 years.
Yeah.
And they won't, I'd rather hear somebody who's been hunting for like 2 years or whatever, their story about how they got into it and what they've learned.
Yeah.
It means more to me than somebody who's just like faking it. And like, you can learn more, and it's more inspiring to hear about somebody who got into it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I met, Joe,
walking into the woods.
Walking in the woods, and he was like, hey, this is my first, year, and we got from talking there, and now we've grown this, we're growing this podcast, we're growing this company, and the main thing we did talk about is, hey, what can we do to teach, people who don't know much about hunting, who don't have anyone there to help them? I mean, there was one point, everyone in my family, they hunt in Maine, but I'm in Jersey by myself. So who's going to teach me? I learned everything, on YouTube and just going out there, and just my experience from Maine. But still, there are certain things that I didn't know, and I wish I did have people there to teach me.
Yeah.
And I think the community has to be a little more accepting of new people, and like, hey, like, if you shoot a small deer and you're a new hunter, okay, that's okay.
You don't rip them apart. It's like
brand new to hunting.
Yeah, that's the one thing I hate about, like, even like if I post something, like there's almost always someone who's going to comment on it, like, oh, that deer's not big, that fish is too, like, it's honestly like kind of vicious, because like, we're kind of all on the same team here, and here's everybody like critiquing each other over stuff.
Yeah, we have enough external people that don't like hunters. We don't need the internal hunter strife.
It's bad. Like, you see it all the time. I mean, I think for a while, I think we're kind of drifting away from it, but there was like a big fad for a while about like, oh, shoot the big bucks and don't shoot the little ones. And people are kind of realizing now that like certain people, that may be their only chance to shoot that smaller buck. So I think we should definitely encourage like someone, even if, I don't know. I don't really agree with, making a comment on someone's page if they're happy with what they shot and they posted it. I usually just say, congrats, that's a great deer, because, to them that is a great deer. So you should just support them like that, because what'll end up happening is, if we do this to all these people, nobody's going to want to hunt because they're going to be afraid of all the criticism.
Exactly, 100%. I mean, we're going to be videoing this year, and listen, if we miss, it's going to be on there. If we shoot a small deer, it's going to be on there. We're not going to hide the fact that it happens. Sometimes it does happen. Even, with my experience, I'm still not up there where I'm shooting big deer after big deer after big deer. I'm still gonna probably shoot, a buck that's to a lot, certain people is not an
Yeah.
impressive deer, just like you.
Yeah,
And there's gonna
exactly.
be people who are gonna be complaining about it. I imagine once we get the YouTube up, everyone wants to be a critic on there, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
so it's part of the industry that it's getting better, but it's still,
Yeah.
relax people, because we
I
don't
think
want to
people
turn
are.
people away.
Yeah, I think people are starting to realize that like not a, like it we're more like just the type of people who just want to get out and hunt versus like the guy. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm all for it, but like a lot of like these big like trophy management like hunts and stuff, they're like it's a lot different than like where you and I hunt.
Yeah.
They those properties are, and that's like that was the whole thing. Like I think like started in like since hunting TV came out until now, like a lot of like those hunts, like that's all that they've projected is just like shooting big bucks, and a lot of people like where they go out, they're only going to shoot or maybe even see 100-inch deer, and that's okay, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so we got one more question for you before we let you go. We'll definitely get you back on, probably multiple, times, and we'll follow you throughout the season and everything. We'll get together to make some videos and stuff like that. But what is your dream hunt? What animal, where around the world, doesn't matter. What is your dream hunt?
Oof, that's a tough one. That's a good question too. I'm trying to think. I mean, for North America, I mean, a moose hunt's cool. I'd really like to get a moose. I mean, there's a lot of things I'd like to hunt, but I
Yeah.
think a moose would be a cool one. A moose or a Kodiak would be, I think, really cool.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
always
Nice.
thought the Kodiak hunts look really exciting. Um, I've often thought about like one day. I mean, it's if I had the money, just go like over in Africa trying to do like a Cape buffalo hunt with a bow. I always thought that would be really fun. I've seen the videos. I've talked to a couple people who've done it, and it's just like a whole different experience over there. But I mean, right now, I mean, it would be cool to get a Kodiak. I think would be like a really neat hunt, or a moose. I think a moose for like North America is kind of like a moose, an elk, and a whitetail are kind of like those top three
Yeah.
like big game North American
Yep.
animals.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to, those three. You're either hearing one of those three, especially I think with the moose and the elk. It's either, when it comes to the deer family, it's either one of those two.
Yep.
Moose. I mean, I don't know how often you go to Maine at all.
Not really. No, I've
Yeah.
been there maybe like 2 or 3 times.
I mean, in one of the episodes I was like talking about before. I mean, I've seen hundreds and hundreds of moose in my life, and I honestly react like it's the first one every time. Like, I could see on a trip to Maine, I could see 30, right? And the last day we will go out, and I could still see another one, and holy crap, like my excitement, and I'm like, oh my, there's a moose. Like, those animals are just, it gets me so exciting. I imagine it would be the same thing if we lived somewhere where we had elk, or if, I
Yep.
can imagine what it's going to be like when I do see a Kodiak.
Yeah,
What?
they're cool looking. I mean, I went to Alaska fishing a few years ago, and we got to see them. And I mean, when you're up and close to them, it's like holy shit, that's a scary looking animal.
Yeah.
Like they're like we saw like a little one, like a little one. It was 600 pounds, but I'll have to
Jeez.
send you the pictures of it. I mean, they're just. I mean, you look at their claws and stuff. I mean, they're just like this big killing machine. It's scary seeing, and it's exciting too, just getting up there with them.
I love the fact that he's saying a little one is 600 pounds. I mean, it's because for us, it's like a 600
Yeah.
pound black bear. That's a humongous black bear.
Yeah. Like the one that we saw in the woods the other day, Mike, that's like half of him. If
Not
that.
even, that was less. That was probably 150 or maybe 200 pound black bear
Yeah.
Yeah.
turkey hunting. But I mean, a 600 pound black, and they get up so much bigger. That's the
Oh yeah.
crazy part.
They'll get up to, I mean, I think they've gotten them like double that weight before.
Yeah.
So
Oh
just the
man.
thought, I mean, I remember at the lodge they had they had one that was mounted there that standing up was like 10 foot 3 inches. I mean, it was just like you look at that thing, and you're like, holy crap. And it was funny because the guy there shot it when he was like 12 years old with a 243 in the head.
Damn.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah,
Could you
they're
imagine?
crazy up there.
Oh, at 12 years old, I'd be like, damn, no other animal, like no other hunt is gonna compare to this.
No, it's not. It's honestly like, wow. It would be neat to grow up there because like you
Yeah,
probably get used. I mean, you get used to
Yeah.
it up there, but like it's a whole different type of like lifestyle living up there. Just seeing all that stuff.
yeah, definitely.
But
All right. Well, thank you so much, Zane. This was honestly a great interview. We might have to split it in two, but this was tremendous. Thank you. And Joe, you got anything to say?
No, again, really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. Definitely we'll have you back on. If you're in the area, definitely let us know once all this blows over with a little barbecue or something.
yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me, guys. I really enjoyed talking with y'all.
Have a good night.
Yep, you too. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.